Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiran Samarasinghe. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiran Samarasinghe, Head of Investor Relations for Sunshine Holdings PLC. And on behalf of my team, I would like to warmly welcome all of you for the second quarter results webinar for Sunshine Holdings for the financial year FY21. First, I would like to cover some ground rules. I would like to note that this is being recorded and we'll be putting it up on our IR website so that you all can refer to it later. I will unmute all participants at the beginning, and then the business heads will unmute themselves and take you through the results. At the end, we will open up for questions. I think the preferred method will be through the chat option. So you can send in your questions through the chat option and I can direct it to the relevant business heads. Next, I would like to introduce our team from Sunshine Holdings. We have today with us Group Managing Director, Mr. Vish Govindasamy, Managing Director for Healthcare, Consumer and Energy Sectors, Mr. Shyam Sathasivam, Group CFO, Mr. Aruna Deeptikumar. Then on the healthcare business side, we have CEO of Pharma Division, Mr. Shantha Bandara. We have CEO of Medical Devices, Mr. Thiru Sayanda, and CEO of HealthGuard, Mr. Infiaz Ali. On the consumer end, we have CEO of Vatavala Tea Ceylon, Mr. Surit Pereira. And from agribusiness, we have Mr. Binesh Panangala, CEO of Vatavala Plantations PLC. On renewable energy, we have Mr. Aroshan Serasinghe, who is the General Manager of Renewable Energy, who will take you through the results. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Aruna to take you through the group results. Aruna, over to you. Aruna, over to you.
Thank you, Hiran. Okay. Thank you, Hiran. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aruna, Group CFO, Sunshine Holdings, PLC. First of all, let me take you through the overview of the Sunshine Group financial numbers. Firstly, the Q2 financial results. These figures include 1 month performance of Dainty, which was acquired on 31st August. It is happy to announce that the group has performed well in Q2 and half year as well, recording a group revenue growth of 15.7% year on year and a PAT growth of 11% year on year in Q2. You can also see the sector level revenue growth in Q2 in the slide below. Mainly agri sector revenue growth contributed 23% and healthcare 14.6%. Moving on to the revenue mix or the contribution of 6.2 billion Q2 revenue. Healthcare dominated the group revenue approximately 52% and followed by FMCG and agri sector. Moving on to the next slide, group financial highlights, mostly talk about the half year results. Group recorded 10.9 billion revenue, which is 9.3% year-on-year growth for the first half of the financial year. And a PAT of 1.28 billion, which is 34% year-on-year growth. Mainly gross profit margin improvement in agri and energy business, and also curtailment of some of the advertising and promotional expenses during the first quarter accounted for 34% growth in PAT. So group recorded 4 rupees and 71 cents of EPS for the first half. So I will hand over. Sayandan will take us through the Sunshine Medical Device performance. Over to you, Sayandan.
Thank you, Aruna. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll give a quick overview on the market status. It was a very challenging Q1 from which we recovered to Q2, which paved the way for a better results in the first half for the financial year FY21. And as you can see here, if you take the market conditions, if you take the hospital occupancy with the curfew coming on effect from March, which continued for the first quarter till about mid-May, the occupancy in the private sector was 38, and with opening up the economy in mid-May, we saw that slightly increase into 63%. So what we saw is in the market condition, things improved in the second quarter. So even in the government sector where the health care facilities are given free, we saw a drop due to the current COVID pandemic, which was at 55%, which later improved to 72%. So another major portion of our business is the laboratory diagnostics. So even when it came to lab tests, so even of those critically ill patients, they postponed their testings. So private sector, we saw a 38% what the lab tests were carried on in the quarter one, which improved to quarter two to 86%. So even the government facility hospital, we saw a similar trend in lab test, which was 41% in the second quarter, it improved. And the third biggest factor, since we are largely dealing with a lot of surgical products and operating theater, there again, we saw the month of April, May, the surgeons took a conscious decision not to operate any one of all elective surgeries, and they performed only the urgent ones. Now, this got reversed when the country situation improved in the second quarter, so which again increased from 49 to 92%. So ladies and gentlemen, actually there was a significant improvement in the market conditions from Q1 to Q2. We faced a lot of challenges, but in spite of the challenges, the Sunshine Healthcare team, it optimized its all area where we could perform well, and we took every opportunity in the market for us to do well. For example, wherever there was a government opportunity when it comes to tenders, and even the private market potential where possible, we got that sale for us. So in spite of all the challenges, to speak to you of the results that we have achieved, let me now hand over to my colleague, Mr. Shantha Bandara, who is the CEO of Pharmaceuticals. Over to you, Shantha.
Thank you, Sayandan. First of all, let me take you through the pharma market, how we fared in the private market as per IQVIA, which is a research organization who publishes on the pharma market. For the quarter, we are very happy to announce by the quarter two our growth and also the market share. How we have fared. Sunshine have done quite well, as Sayandan explained, although with difficult waters we have been thriving through, and happy to announce that we have a market share of 11.65, and the most important thing that you will see in terms of growth, which is the red line you see, which is upward trend, and the blue bars you see is the market share, where every quarter we have improved ourselves. And while the market is growing at about 15%, we are growing around 30%. So with that market result, I will take you to the next slide, which actually talks about some of the new businesses that we have signed up for, mainly the pharma business during the quarter. We are happy to announce that we are partnering with Medopharm India, which is quite a large operation in India, which we have partnered with for their brands, and we will be actually launching these products in the next few months to come. This would include certain antibiotics, which are in the acute sector, and some of the chronic segment products. And also we have signed up with Wilshire, Pakistan. This particular manufacturer was working with farmers and they were willing to transfer their business to us, and we will be again launching these products in the near future. And also we signed up with Cellbiotech Korea. These are mainly for probiotics, and Duolac is a known brand around the world, and we are happy to launch some of the products from the same brand family. And the final one, Centaur, India, again, another new partner that we signed up for business. Again, some of the products are antibiotics, and some chronic segments we wish to launch certain products in few months to come. With this, I will take you through the numbers of the healthcare sector for the quarter ended. Q2, we have reported for the healthcare sector growth of 14.6 for the quarter in terms of revenue, which with that revenue and with a lot of effort in our cost controlling, we are happy to announce EBIT with a growth of 64%, where you see the EBIT margin compared to the previous year is a significant improvement at 11.4%, which we have taken further efforts to manage our affairs during these tough times. And with that, we report a PAT of 253 million, which is a margin of 7.9% with a 91% growth, which is a very fair result for a tough quarter. With that, our first half, we are happy to announce that we are reporting a 55% growth in our PAT for the healthcare sector. With this, let me hand over you to Mr. Infiaz Ali, CEO of HealthGuard, who will take you through the other slides.
Thank you, Shanta. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take you through the performance of HealthGuard for the first half. Let me start by first explaining to you the graph on the top there. The blue bars indicate the revenue that we were able to achieve during those individual months, and the growth in relation to those months. And the bottom here, I have shown and indicated the operating hours of our chain during these months respectively. As you can see, the retail business went through multiple phases during these last 6 months. And you will see that we had gone through a full lockdown to a semi-lockdown and a new normal phase. And we started the year with a significant reduction in operating hours, only of 13%, and now gradually improving to 94% of our total store operating hours. So this has been a new way of doing business for HealthGuard in this new quarter. So in relation to, in this background, we see some new shopper trends and new shopper behaviors taking into account what has happened in the country. The first thing we noticed was that the buying intention of many consumers have become very focused and high, and they are focused primarily towards pharmaceuticals. And we actually saw per person buying volume increase by 49%, which is a big jump compared to last year, last quarter. So people are buying a lot more in this period. Secondly, we also saw footfalls coming back to its usual norm. From Q1 to Q2, there's a 66% increase in footfalls, showing that customers are returning back to the stores. Next, in terms of basket, again, the basket is focused to essentials only, and we see that there's no luxury shopping by the consumer. High-end beauty, high-end color cosmetics is not what the customers are focusing on. Instead, they are focusing on pharmaceuticals and also a lot on own personal safety related products. And here we saw a 200-fold increase in our personal safety related products. In relation to shopping hours, we actually saw customers only shopping during limited hours during this quarter, restricting themselves to the lunchtime and early evening hours. And finally, we also saw that we witnessed people engaging with HealthGuard more on the online platform. So in this shopping trend and with this shopper trends, I would like to move on to the next slide to show you how HealthGuard actually responded to these shopping trends. First, we focused a lot on ensuring pharma availability to cater to the demand. So our operational focus there was ensure stock. Secondly, since there was no demand for luxury related, beauty related items, we actually rationalized beauty more sharply during the quarter. Then we focused a lot of our efforts on driving footfall quarter on quarter. Then we also focused on improving our service offerings to ensure that we are able to engage customers and improve our basket value. So that's been a positive. Then we also understood the need for these COVID essentials related safety products. So we also launched a line of HealthGuard brands related products. Understanding that online is doing well, we actually moved on to improving the delivery offering of HealthGuard to reduce our delivery time from 48 hours to 10 hours to finally to 2 hours. Finally, we also took steps to rationalize costs in relation to unproductive stores, especially express outlets that are located within Keels. So we took some action on exiting some of the outlets in the quarter as well. Moving on to the next slide, I will just quickly show you how the online store has been performing during this period, because this has been an area of focus and effort by HealthGuard to really scale up the online business to cater to consumer demand. So obviously HealthGuard's online revenues have increased significantly versus a previous Q4 quarter, as you can see. And I've indicated here, for example, in April, in comparison to the corresponding April last year, we saw a significant, improvement in the revenue performance of the online store, jumping 53-fold. While the new normal did happen and the online store revenue performance did come down, it is still at a far higher level than last year, and we are driving in more traffic than before. And you can also see in the bar chart below here that we are getting a record number of customers visiting our online store, with a 261% increase in new customers, and retaining existing customers as well. So that's a positive point for our online efforts and initiatives. And we will continue to focus our attention on strengthening this in the coming months. Thank you very much. I will now hand it over to Mr. Surit Pereira, the CEO of Wattawala TC Law.
Good afternoon. So I will take you through the Sunshine consumer business. So now we are calling it Sunshine Consumer Business because we now have not only Wattawala TC Law Limited, but also Dainty Limited, which we acquired at the end of August. The consumer purchasing power has been affected badly post-COVID. And this we see in some of the tests, the research that internally we have done, where we see that household incomes have on average reduced by about 20%, and expenses have increased by about 15%. So that is an internal, of course, internal research that we did. Also, we see smaller packs increasing. And this is across segments, not only in tea. Supermarkets have, the footfall has fallen. Actually, in October, we see a difference, but up to October, the footfall had fallen. This is, we attribute it to two things. One is that there was fear of the disease catching on, and also the hassle of walking into supermarkets with the COVID protocol having to be followed. So people were sticking to general trade, grocery outlets, economic centers. So they were looking for more economical channels. However, one good thing for the tea segment that we saw is that the market is increasing because the consumption is increasing. That is two things. One is there are more people spending time at home. And the other thing is that the hot beverages are good in this environment, and there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about tea also being good. So, so this has spurred consumption in tea. So going into the so in this environment, volume has grown by about 8% in the market. However, for us, the volume growth has been 13.4% in Q2, which has been a very good growth in volume. This came as a result of the team really focusing on distribution and productivity. So there was a lot of gain that we had from the smaller outlets, what we call DE outlets. And so this enabled us to grow. However, unfortunately, this didn't result in a very high value growth because of the negative price growth we had by taking in price reductions in Q3 last year. To remind you, Unilever took drastic price reductions in Q3 last year, and we had to follow. So with that, the negative price growth is impacting value growth. The table below that you see is for Vatavala Tea Ceylon, inclusive of 1 month of Dainty. So there is 237 million that has come from Dainty. That is reflected in EBIT and PAT as well. So if you take Vatavala tea itself, the EBIT resulting from the revenue growth has been a negative of 40%, and also PAT also a negative of 40%. So these numbers include Dainty, which includes 237 million, which also has delivered 15.5% EBIT margin. So overall, whilst the volume growth has been good, there has been revenue and profits getting impacted over last year. However, one good thing is the performance is better than we expected and budgeted. So having taken over Dainty, we have done some quick fixes at Dainty, and we see production has increased. One of the key challenges was there was market opportunity, but production, we had capacity issues. So here we have increased production by 29%. And also we see sales have increased. This is, of course, two reasons for this. One is also small competitors going out of the market, and also imports being not coming in. And also the other thing is the Q1 had been low, so there has been a trade pushing that has happened in Q2. So with this, we see that we are also doing some changes. We are focusing on technology. We are introducing a Salesforce automation project that is going on. We are looking at new product development, especially Dainty is a company that is really strong in general trade. So we are looking at how we can extend some products to modern trade, and also streamlining supply chain that will also benefit the production. So in the future, we plan to drive both companies in two categories that are there in confectionery and tea, and also look at further categories in the future. With that, I'll hand you over to Mr. Binesh Pananwala to take you through the agri sector.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Surit. I will cover the agri-business. Basically, it comprises of Vattola Plantations and also the 100% subsidiary of Vattola Plantations, which is Vattola Dairy. Basically, with the mixed results, kind of with the current issues, the performance for the first half and also the second quarter was quite good. We had on the revenue 23% growth and also on EBIT 33%. Especially in terms of the cost have been kept under control. But however, that we had in the second quarter of the year, we saw a crop drop. There was a drop in the crop. This is a global phenomena which we can see it. This is applicable to the other countries as well, and also that it is more prominent in the southern part of in Sri Lanka. So as a result, there is a drop in crop from last year as well as in the current year, the budgeted levels. However, the costs have been kept under control, and it has been almost against last year levels. In the other hand, the price side, the prices of world market prices due to the shortfall in crop, the prices were the highest, which we could kind of see. Currently, it's touching around $850 in the world market price, and we expect it to be in the same range till about February in the next year. Taking into the special commodity levy, which is a duty component which is coming into the importation of palm oil to the country, also had not changed for 3 months now, and it is more stabilized at this moment. Therefore, the prices that what we get for palm oil is higher than last year and also above what we have projected. When it comes to the dairy, the success, it has been a success story in the first half of the year, mainly because of 2 reasons. One is the demand that what we see for the milk, where the processors are going for better quality of milk, and also that as a result of our milk being single source, there is a big demand for milk in the country. Apart from that, the other highest cost center is the feed cost. So in the current year, though, despite of the challenges what we had during the first quarter of the year with regards to procuring our feed requirement, we have seen our costs have been better managed. Due to that, actually, the dairy business is doing quite well in current situation. With regards to the Vattola Plantations, the profit trends, it has been higher than last year as well as what we have projected. I will now move on to the next slide. And now I'll hand it over to Aroshan to take you through on Sunshine Energy.
Thank you, Binesh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The slide in front of you shows basically the good results for the energy sector. This is largely to do with the good rainfall which we experienced for the first half. especially Q2 as well, and that you can see in the growth. So we were able to monetize and capture this rainfall with all three plants being in good running condition. So that largely reflects the first half results and the growth compared to last year, FY20, where we experienced drought conditions and few unplanned maintenance issues. So top line of 209 and a PAT of 56 million for the first half. And in the bottom table, you will see a few operating results again coming down from the good results. If you see the plant factors, the throughput was very good for the 3 hydros, and it was good for solar as well. We had a good 6 months performance for solar, and on solar we are very bullish in expanding and scaling up on the megawatt capacity. And happy to note that we commissioned first non-captive plant that was just after the first 6 months in October. And we are looking forward to contributing 500 kilowatts, half a megawatt, to the national grid. And we hope to expand on the solar rooftop capacity in the near future as well. So thank you. I'll hand you back to Hiran for the Q&A.
Thanks, Aroshan. So I think we can move on to the Q&A session. I think we have already got some questions in. So I think the first two are for Butterwell Plantation. I think Dinesh can pick up on this. How do you see the outlook for palm oil segment and the removal of corporate income tax as per the budget? What is expected income tax saving and what is the current income tax rate for Vata?
Yeah, so currently, if you look at the kind of a last
I think
year,
Aruna can answer the income tax. Can I? Yeah. Yeah, Dinesh, I'll take that question. Current income tax rate is agriculture 14% that we have taken into consideration, and it will be extended for next 5 years as per the budget proposal presented yesterday. Approximately it will be a 200 million tax saving based on the budgeted numbers. Thank you, Aruna. And Dinesh, can you respond to the other question on how palm oil prices are expected to move over the next few quarters?
Yeah, so as I explained earlier, that the palm oil prices are currently the highest, which is in dollar terms around 830, which have been the highest for the last couple of years. What we see that as per the mentioned future, this will continue till about February, and then it will start dropping. So in the local context, the special commodity levy also is at the same level for the last 3 months. So the prices will maintain till about month of March.
Thanks, Dinesh. Another one for Vata from Sanjay. Please comment on sustainability of palm oil revenue volumes considering the ban. Cash balance have dropped significantly. Can you please comment? So I think let's take the sustainability of palm oil given the ban. Can you shed some light on that, Dinesh?
Yeah, though there is a ban in planting, the kind of a harvesting and the kind of extent is the same. So there is no significant difference from last year as well as the projected. So it's maintained at the same level. And also that we predict, our predictions are there will be increase as because we have younger palms as of now, that we will have a larger amount of primage, or where you get a higher yield category will increase year on year for another couple of years. So we expect it to be in the same range or better in the years to come.
Thanks, Dinesh. I think there was some technical issue with Aruna's explanation. So let me put it back to Aruna to reiterate that point. Yeah, current tax rate for Waterwala plantation 14%. However, based on the yesterday's budget proposal, there will be a tax exemption for 5 years, and expected tax saving is approximately 200 million. However, it will be mitigated against the proposed wage increase impact as well. Thank you, Arun. I think that's one from Sanjay on the FMCG. About food is very small.
Hiran, I think you're not audible.
Surit, can you comment on exports?
Hiran, you're not audible, Hiran.
Okay. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Surit, there was a question on exports on the consumer side. Tea, I explained it's a smaller figure compared to the local business. Now, can you shed some light on the export?
Yeah, so currently, not currently, before COVID, the export business is a very, very small business. It's about actually a 100 million business, and together with tea boutiques, it's about a 200 billion business. So that is a very small segment of the entire company. However, whilst the export business that is doing well, the tea boutique segment, that is the specialty tea segment, has been badly affected by the tourism being not, I mean, tourists not coming to the country. So so that has got affected. So from that, there is an impact, and we had tea boutiques in BIA, Liberty Plaza, and One Golf Face. We have closed the one at Liberty Plaza, and BIA is currently, the airport is currently not operational. One Golf Face is, we are having it. However, even that is now closed. So that is a business that is where we are challenged.
Thanks, Surit, for that description on the export side. So we have some more questions on Waterwala plantations and the recent budget announcement. I think Hafeel has a question on what is the impact of the wage increase. Binesh, would you be able to shed some light on that?
Yeah, actually, at the moment, we are not exactly sure how much, whether it's going to be on the base wage or what is proposed. Therefore, that every rupee increase per man day is costing whatever about 500,000 rupees. So that will give that entire impact for Wata.
Thanks, Vinesh. Another one on Wata from Rashid. What is the impact of palm oil price increase due to global price increase versus the duty component?
Actually, the global price increase is about 30,000 rupees a ton. And also that for the first the quarter, the increase on the special commuter levy, that's about another 70,000 rupees per ton. So those are the differences. So almost about 100,000 per ton increase due to the duty as well as the global price increase.
Okay, thanks, Vinesh. I think we have one for healthcare now. The question is, did any COVID-19 related cost reduction measures help farmer margins increase during the quarter? I think Shanta, would you like to take?
Yes, Hiran. Actually, with regard to certain operational issues, or since we were not operating fully, certain medical teams couldn't operate fully, and certain teams had to work from home. So therefore, there would have been certain cost savings, which may not be very significant, but those were the things that we would have materialized. Other than that, we have been fully on the distribution. Therefore, I think where we had an edge over our competition was where we reached out to all the pharmacies and was able to deliver. So therefore, I think we spent more focus on getting our distribution done. Therefore, I think that may have got largely squared off there. I would say certain amount of promotions that took place on a normal day did not take place. Therefore, there could have there were savings on the spent on promotions at the front lines. So therefore, whatever that principals used to spend and whatever that we used to spend on our operations went down in the promotions, and certain activity levels were down. Therefore, we have seen that field cost in certain teams have gone down.
Thanks, Shanta. I think another one from Rashid for healthcare. How much of the medical devices revenue is recurring? I think this is mostly consumable items. So I think I'll ask Sayandan to give some additional color to that. Sayandan?
Sorry, Hiran, I didn't get that question. Can you repeat that for me, please?
How much of the medical devices revenue is recurring, as in consumable versus...
Okay, so if I give a light to that question, see, our diagnostics are mainly on reagent, which is like a continuous consumables, which is on that, because we have a smaller portion on equipment, which will be like one-off sale. And there again, if you take surgical, in Johnson & Johnson, it's sutures, so that is a continuous business. And also 3M, we have wound care, which is on continuous basis. So mostly they are recurring on a continuous basis, which contribute towards our medical devices space. Did that answer the question, gentlemen?
Thank you. There's a 4-part question from Renal. I think the first one regarding hike in palm oil prices, Binesh already addressed. The second part of that question is any further plans to expand dairy? Binesh?
Yes, actually, we are looking at it in terms of increasing the herd. Currently, we are looking at it in that terms, especially to kind of optimize the capacity of the farm. And also that more than that, our main focus is to kind of keep our cost low in terms of making it more viable in terms of the feed cost, etc.
Thanks, Binesh. And also on the third part of the question, it's on pharma. I think Shyam can take this. Would the company look to expand local manufacturing of pharma? Shyam?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the local manufacturing sector over the last 5 years has got a lot more stability by virtue of the buybacks and even renewals. So you've seen a lot of players enter this space, and some of the existing players set up expansion. So definitely Sunshine continues to evaluate the opportunities in this space and engage in different partnerships with current players as well, as we hope to balance between importing and sourcing locally.
Okay. Thanks, Shyam. We have one for Dainty. Would the company expect any further capex on Dainty? Surit, do you want to take that?
I think it's better if Shyam takes it.
Sure. So I think Dainty, for now, our challenge is to stabilize operations. As we saw in the results, we've had very good productivity increase, so volume increase. So we're trying to get more potential out of the existing assets. We do foresee some capex, some of it renewal, maintenance, that sort of thing. Nothing significant in the next year or so.
Thanks, Sham. I think we have another one back to agribusiness on dairy for Binesh. In terms of improvement in profitability of the dairy farm, how much is attributed to increase in sales price and how much is attributed to the reduction in cost? Binesh?
Yeah, actually, the dairy price also has increased during the year, especially the Q2. But more significantly, what is controllable is that to look at the cost side. So significantly, the feed costs had come down by about almost 10 rupees compared to previous quarter, and also which is continuing at the moment. So it's about 20 rupees on the cost saving, as well 10 rupees on the cost saving, and also about 10 rupees on the price that we have got the advantage.
Thanks, Binesh. I think back to Sham on pharma manufacturing, a question from Hafil. How would the local manufacture by SPMC, how would that affect the local pharma business?
So the SPMC is primarily been supplying the government, and the expansion of the SPMC has been on the cards. What you will see is the government imports nearly $300 million worth of pharmaceuticals, and which is what they want to shift to a lot more local production. So the SPMC will be manufacturing more and more of their needs alongside the other private players. But the private players will also participate in the private market, as you will see also players there switch from imported to contract manufacturer. So you will see opportunities. So I think it's still early days and there's enough growth for all.
Thanks, Sham. Aroshan, I think we have one for energy from Hafil. Would the 7-year tax holiday for renewable energy announced in the budget be applicable to Sun's existing plants, or is it applicable for new projects?
Thanks, Iran, for the question. It will be for new projects, and I believe there is a minimum threshold. If I remember, it's 100 megawatts. From what I gathered from what was disclosed in the budget, far as I know. So I think, yeah, there's a minimum threshold of 100 megawatts for the tax to be applicable. So it will come into play for our existing plants.
Thank you, Aroshan. I think we have another one for Dainty on Dainty from Rashid. Was the Dainty plant operational in April and May 2020? And generally, how many days of stocks are at the retailers at the trade level?
Sure. So the plant was not running for a few weeks in April, given the sharp lockdown at that point in time. And it was primarily in May. So we had about 4 to 5 weeks of plant being closed before we kicked off again. The business kicked off in May. So there was some pipe fill sale through Q2 for that business. We have since increased production significantly, therefore able to stock the market. We foresee about 2 weeks stock is at retailers right now. And that would be a reasonable amount to expect from the 100,000 or so stores that carry these products, especially in the DE sector.
Thanks, Shah. So I think we've covered all the questions on the chat itself. So if there's no more new questions, I think it's time for us to wrap it up. On behalf of the Sunshine team, I would like to thank each and everyone who participated and engaged with us, and hope to see you all again next quarter. Have a good day and stay safe. Thank you.
E4.